Hello, everyone. This is another Black Conservative. I am Ryan Bone, and thank you all for joining me. So, Mayor of New York Eric Adams has made the decision to cut funding for the city of New York to supply the needs of the illegal migrants or illegal aliens, whichever one you want to call it, is going to be moving into New York. Now, this is crazy. I'm pretty sure some of you have already heard about this, but this is absolutely crazy. It's always the little people, the U's and the I's that always suffer the consequences of these foolish moves that these politicians make. So let's get right into this article. This is absolutely insane, but it just goes to show you it matters who you vote for. It does. And I feel sorry for Eric Adams, but I'm going to explain to you why I feel sorry for him after I read a portion of this article. But it says, New York Mayor Eric Adams says he must cut spending on ordinary New Yorkers because the city's law prioritizes funding for President Joe Biden's economic migrants. We must close a $7 billion budget gap in the coming fiscal year, he said in a speech to city residents, adding, this is the reality we are facing, and if the circumstances don't change dramatically, city agencies will be forced to reduce city funding spending by 5% two more times in the next 6 months. That will mean disruptions to the services you all rely on. Thank you, sir. Saying that under the headline, but I'm going to defend Eric Adams to some extent. But I'm going to get into that after I read a portion of this. This is under the headline: Eric Adams slashes budgets for police. Watch this: for police, libraries, and schools. The New York Times reported, quote, the budget cuts would bring the number of police department officers below 30,000 for the first time since the 1980s. Can you imagine that? Slash the education department budget by $1 billion over 2 years, and delay the rollout of composting in the Bronx and Staten Island. I'm sorry, composting in the Bronx and Staten Island, one of the mayor's signature initiatives to address rats and climate change. The cuts would also weaken two popular programs, summer school and universal pre-kindergarten. This is just crazy, man. This is just absolutely crazy. Let me see. I want to read a couple of other things here. Biden's very unpopular migration has delivered more than 100,000 migrants into New York. The city's laws and lobby groups ensure that the migrants get shelter and food costing up to $400 per day, forcing the taxpayer costs above, get this now, above $12 billion. And it's just crazy, man. The crazy numbers that us as taxpayers, well, when I say us, I mean, of course, I don't live in New York. I live in Cleveland, Ohio, but still, this is all over. It says these costs are being paid by diverting funds from programs for ordinary Americans, such as policing and schools. But New York Democrats refuse to change the laws or raise taxes, and instead insist that U.S. taxpayers from outside New York pay the bills while the city's insiders pocket the profits from illegal migration. And that's what I'm going to read right there, because it's just disgusting, man. It's sick, and it just goes to show you that the elites are the ones that profit from this. And you can go to the description box below and look up the title for the article and from Breitbart News, and you can read it on your own. But it's just sick and disgusting. It just goes to show you how that the elites, but on both sides, the Republicans or the so-called Republicans and the Democrats, profit from this type of nonsense. But I want to say this in defense of Eric Adams. He's not as, first of all, I'm going to point this out. New York City is a sanctuary city. So because it's a sanctuary city that's designed for this very purpose, it's an old lot that can be done. Eric Adams and whoever other mayors did not create it as a sanctuary city. It was already a sanctuary city before he became the mayor, from what I understand. Now, in defense of Eric Adams, he did have a meeting before the council some time ago complaining about the fact that New York could not afford to house any more of these migrants. And I was watching my boy Anthony Brown Logan, and y'all know people have accused me of being a bootleg Anthony Brown Logan. No, I'm my own self, okay? So no, I'm not Anthony Brown Logan. I'm Ryan, okay? He did a video on the fact that the federal government came after Eric Adams after this, and he suggested that perhaps they're trying to tell him to keep his mouth shut. Now, me personally, I agree with that assessment. Here, Eric Adams was complaining about, we cannot house these migrants. We don't have any room for them. We just don't have any room. And by saying that, all of a sudden, the federal government started coming and trying to, what was it? One of his financiers or whatever that was collecting the money for his campaign. They came looking for her. They came looking for Eric Adams and some other things. You can watch the video of Anthony Brown Logan and check it out for yourself if you haven't. But he was suggesting that perhaps this was the federal government's way of saying, shut up. We got a plan. You messing up our plan. Okay. So it seems like now, and I agree with that assessment. In fact, I felt that was the case from the beginning. Now, let me explain to you why I personally believe that. Because I was reading the research of Paul McGuire, who made gave an in-depth study on this whole idea of these illegal immigrants flooding our country, and not just flooding America, but flooding other European countries as well. Okay, what's going on here? Why are these immigrants from other countries flooding other countries like crazy and causing all kinds of ruckus and problems in those countries? What's going on? And according to Paul McGuire's research, he stated basically that the elites are purposely, when he says elites, talking about international banking families, the United Nations, the secret societies and so forth. Yes, the secret societies do exist. That they have a goal, they have an agenda. The purpose is to flood countries such as European countries and America, flood them with illegals, people that you can't vet, people that you can't, find out who they are, whether they're criminals or not, or child molesters, whether you don't know what they are. The purpose is to dismantle those countries, to dismantle the countries, divide the countries, separate the countries in order to be able to create a revolution, a Marxist revolution within that country. And then the government comes in and creates that socialist or communist government. They come in and create it and give the people order, right? They come in and they fix the problem. But the problem was created by the government to begin with, according to the researcher Paul McGuire. Now, having said that, this situation here with Eric Adams is a very unfortunate situation, because it looks like to me his hands are tied. He's click. There's nothing he can do. He's already spoke to the council about this, cried out to them about it, and now he's gotten shut down by the elites. Shut your mouth. We got a plan. You are messing up the plan, Eric Adams. You're messing up the plan, bro. Okay? You're messing up our agenda. Our purpose is to cause chaos everywhere, all over the country. And you messing that up. So keep your mouth shut. Keep your mouth shut. And let's be realistic. It's the Democrats that is the political party that the elites seem to have more of an influence over, if you will. They still have influence over the Republicans, okay? The Republicans sit back and cry and boo-hoo, and they don't do anything to try to change these radical views and radical policies of the Democrats. That's their problem for the most part. But it seems like the Democrats, or if you can call them Democrats, okay, or the modern Democrats, seems to be more in lockstep with the elites. And what I mean by that is the Democratic Party of today seems to be more in lockstep with the elites' agenda of completely dismantling America and causing moral and civil chaos in order to bring in their global government. It's a bigger picture than what people are looking at, for lack of a better word, okay? It's a bigger picture here. It's a bigger agenda here, the way I see it. based on my readings and my studies and reading the research of others. I'm convinced of that, okay? So people like Eric Adams here, who it seems to me he means well. Seems to me he means well. He's not a Brandon Johnson. Brandon Johnson, I can't stand him. This man is a total disaster, okay? Our mayor here, a disaster. Not as radical as Brandon Johnson, but this man, our mayor, since he's become a mayor, the city of Cleveland is one of the most unsafe cities in the country. I was reading that in an article some time ago that the city of Cleveland has become one of the most unsafe cities in the country. Now, why is that? I believe in part because of the progressive Democratic mayor and mayor that we have in our city, because they appoint people to their cabinet. They appoint people to their administration. And most of the people that they appoint to their administration reflects their worldview. The district attorney, the city council, all reflect this worldview. So now you have crime up the gazoo in our city. But he's not as radical as Brandon Johnson. He's not as radical as him. But my point is simply this. The Democrats of today seem to be more in lockstep with the elite's objective to utterly destroy this country. That's what it seems to be, okay? And it's just crazy. It's just crazy, man. But I feel sorry for Eric Adams. But let me say this, Lo. Let me say this, and I'm gonna start summing this video up. I said this before. I'll say it again. It's always us little people that suffer. Now, let's move aside this idea that the elites are trying purposely to destroy our country. Let's act like that doesn't even exist, okay? Because that's you could call that a theory, okay? I believe it's more than a theory, but let's just move that aside for a moment. And let's just look at this from a rational point of view. You mean to tell me migrants that don't live in this country may be criminals, may be child molesters, all the rest, okay, get benefits that the residents of that city don't get. And it doesn't matter what the residents do to cry out and complain, the very people that put these people in office. Doesn't matter what they say, doesn't matter what they do, you don't count. See, this is where it all comes down to the voting thing. And this can be very discouraging to people who want to vote, because they're like, what's the point in voting if you're going to have politicians that really do not care for the people? And that's what I wanted to say. This is what I wanted to say. I almost lost my train of thought there. This is why, for the most part, why people want Trump in office. That's why his numbers are growing. Come on, man, let's quit playing games. Why do you think Trump's numbers are growing? Why do you think the poll numbers are growing? This isn't merely Trump supporters. This isn't MAGA people. These are people that are undecided, and maybe perhaps people that voted for Joe Biden. And it's like, wait a minute, man, I'm getting sick and tired of it. Ever since this man has been in office, we have been catching hell. Because it has come to a point in America where people are more in line with populist candidates for the presidency than they are the classical politician. Because the classic politician does not care for the people. They care for the elites that finance their campaigns. They only tell you and I the rhetoric we want to hear so that we can vote for them. And the minute these jokers get in office, they flip the switch on us. And what American people are saying, we're getting sick and tired of being sick and tired. And that's why they want Trump. He may not be the most well-spoken person. He may not be a politician, but wake the heck up. Man, I be wanting to cuss, but because it's so stupid. Wake up, folks. Wake up. Wake up, man. Come on, man. It's like they're tired. They're sick and tired. What was his name? Rama Ramaswamy, who's another he's running Republican, but he's another entrepreneur, very rich entrepreneur, not a politician. But the man is extremely well-spoken, and I know you've all heard him speak. He's extremely well-spoken, very charismatic, and and his numbers are going up because people want people that are real. The voters want real people who really care about them and their needs. America first. Then you can take care of all these other people, but take care of your people first. That's like me having a house, you know what I'm saying? And I own a house and I'm paying the rent or paying a mortgage and I got kids and I got a wife, you know what I'm saying? And I let some homeless person come in and I feed them all my food and everything and then say, okay, son, daughter, I'll give y'all, wife, I'll give y'all the leftovers. What kind of sense does that make? None whatsoever. And this is how a lot of these politicians have been doing the American public for years. And they're sick and tired of it. And in 2016, that's when it ended. That's when it ended when they voted Trump in office. Wasn't about race. Man, get the HGLL out of here. Wasn't about no race. It was they were tired. And now they're even more sick and tired because now that they didn't demonize Trump and got him out of office, they didn't put Biden in there who stole the election. Yeah, okay. Now, look at it. Look at our country. Look at it. And now the undecided are starting to see, and people who have decided to vote for Joe Biden are starting to see. Wait a minute, man. We was wrong. We've been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, run amok. That's about it. Okay. That's about it. This is the deal. This is the real deal, Holyfield. This is what's going on in our country. Okay. And I feel sorry for Eric Adams, man. I feel, I feel for him. I feel for him. Seems like his hands are tied. He's locked in. What can he do? The elites told him, shut your mouth. We got an agenda. We pay you to keep your mouth shut, or we either pay you to keep your mouth shut, or we pay you to say we want you to say. Or to put it to you another way, we pay you to say what we want you to say and keep your mouth shut. That's how it is. We pay you to say what we want you to say and to keep your mouth shut against the agenda we pushing. I'm just saying. But that's my words on it. What do you guys think about this foolishness? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Like, share, subscribe to my channel. God bless you all. See you again.